Joining us now on the Deseret First Credit Union Hotline is a man we haven't talked to in a while, David Nixon, former BYU and NFL football player. Dave, welcome back to the show, man.
Hey, it feels great to be on here with my kitty winkles.
Yeah, baby.
Not really sure where to go after
David
that.
knows what's up.
Kitty winkles. David has.
I have to side with you, Spencer. I've never heard that phrase, but you know what? I'm adopting it, and I will go home and tell my children, how you doing today,
You
kitty
have
winkles?
two kitty winkles, dude.
All right, done deal.
How's that going, by the way, now that you have expanded from one kitty winkle to two?
Hey, it's a change. You know, it's awesome, obviously, and it's fun having two boys now, but it's definitely a change, but you know, it's great. Can't complain. Sleep's getting better, which is always a positive. He's now almost 3 months old, so the sleep is coming back around. But the golf game has been limited. Not as many rounds this year, unfortunately.
You took me right there. Literally,
Hey.
my next question was going to be, how much has it affected your golf game?
You know, it's not near as much. So I'm trying to find time during the work week to get out and golf, and not necessarily on the weekends. So that's kind of a delicate balance I'm trying to approach right now. But you know what? With the weather getting warmer, I'll find some time. It doesn't matter when and where. I'll have to find some time.
Home golf balance is very important. Spring football is over now, David. What did you learn from BYU spring football under a new coaching staff?
Well, you know, there's a ton of excitement leading up to spring ball, especially with the new coach staff coming in. And I think it carried over into spring ball. For the practices I went to, the guys seemed rejuvenated. They seemed excited. Talking to them, they all seemed to love the new coaching staff. It's a much more laid-back approach, which can have its pluses and minuses. But I think for right now, the guys are loving it. They're learning. You know, anytime there's a change, it's exciting because you have to go in and you have to put in the time to learn new systems and dedicate, you know, some extra hours. And it's kind of a challenge. And so we talked about it last year whenever the change happened. The change can be good, and I think the players are responding to it, and it shows out there on the field. I think they're excited to be out there, and you know, it was fun to watch them this spring.
David Nixon with us on BYU Sports Nation. Alumni Day went down on Friday kind of as like this bookend to spring football. What was that like? What were the emotions like for you with a new staff, but kind of this, you know, homecoming for a bunch of these coaches, and I heard a lot of guys that hadn't been around for a while were back as well.
I think that's the biggest takeaway. There were guys, one of them being Mania Brown, who, if you'll recall, he transferred from Nebraska, humongous defensive tackle. I remember coming in as a freshman, looking up at this guy. I was like, holy cow. I have arrived because this guy is a monster, and thank goodness he'll be blocking for me up front as a nose tackle. And saw him around. I said that to him. I was like, man, it's been forever. He's like, yeah, I just kind of, you know, did get around, but with now Kalani back, I feel more at home and I'm around. And so I think you saw a lot of guys from the Lavelle Edward, you know, era, as well as even Croton's era, that didn't really have a tie to Bronco, didn't really come around the program much. And sure enough, on Alumni Day, it was fun. I was catching up with guys left and right from kind of my freshman year who I hadn't seen because once again, my freshman year was with Croton. And so there were a lot of guys that played then that haven't really showed up during the Mendenhall era that were there. So it was great to see former players. And I think, you know, there's been Facebook groups that have been put together for former players that this new Kalani and his staff are putting together. And I think you'll just see a lot more players coming out of the woodworks and joining kind of this exciting time of BYU football, to have a coach that played here, that has relationships with his former teammates, but also guys that played after and before. And I think you'll see kind of this wave of players coming out and supporting this program.
Yeah, I knew it was different at the press conference for Kalani Sitake when Mania Brown was there. I saw him there among other guys. When there was this different feel in the room for sure. But Taysom Hill ahead of schedule, big storyline out of spring ball. More healthy than we thought. I think we should probably expect him to be ahead of schedule all the time now, since he's a freak of nature. But how's his health, and what did you notice from him in spring?
Yeah, just that. I mean, he obviously looks great throwing the ball, right? And he's moving well on it. And he's obviously not full speed, and nor does he need to be full speed, and nor I think does the training staff want him to test it to be full speed. But that's something they'll continue to ramp up, because this injury, the foot injury, is one of those things where you have to kind of push it and then push it harder and harder each day. Otherwise, we saw kind of what happened to Craig Bills was he came back, pushed it too hard where he hadn't pushed it hard enough, and it ended up kind of re-injuring it. So I think they'll kind of pace him and get him ready, so he's kind of hitting his peak come fall ball. But yeah, he looked good. And I mean, the good thing is it's not really affecting his throwing motion. He was out there throwing some bullets. So I think, especially watching him go through these previous injuries, he'll definitely be ready come fall ball.
David Nixon on BYU Sports Nation, currently talking BYU spring football and the now 5-month off-season blues for those diehards. David, how do you pass the time during the off-season blues of no BYU football?
Oh man, it's a tough one. Golf helps. The Masters this week, that helps. And I tell you what, it's actually been fun watching BYU baseball. During the years when I was there, they were very irrelevant, and they were tough to watch. But now, if I was just talking to some of my siblings and some other friends, we're like, man, actually they're doing really well. It'd be fun to go down to a game. And I haven't been to a BYU baseball game in like probably 8 years or something like that. And so I think that's fun to see the team ranked and doing well. But then golf helps, and let's face it, there's still football even during these down months. Especially I'll be going down there and hanging out, watching them do their 7-on-7 stuff during the summer. It's fun to hang out with those guys, but you got to find something, because it is 4 or 5 months away. 4 months till fall ball actually kicks off, and then 5 months till the first game. So there's still definitely a lot of time left.
Plus Arena League football, Canadian League football. We got a lot of football this summer, man.
Yeah, it definitely holds you over. That Arena Football League is the best thing to watch ever.
Just watch out for the camera guys in the end zone. So yeah, I guess that happened over the weekend.
And the fans grabbing the ball away from you in the end zone.
I hate when that happens. Hey, BYU's going to run a 4-3. What kind of difference do you expect from BYU defensively this fall with that new look?
Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of versatility. I think you're going to see linebackers coming in on nickel and dime packages, especially. You can take out those DNs and bring in some quicker guys that can get to the quarterback, get a rushing advantage there. I think this defense, there's one thing that sticks out to me, is it's athleticism. I think we have a lot of guys, especially with Francis Bernard coming over, a lot of guys that are quick, that are agile, and more than anything, they got some big dudes. I mean, you look at that linebacker, Fred Warner looks like he's put on some weight, looking big. And of course, you had Francis and Harvey Longy, and then of course the backups. I mean, that's a stout 3 linebackers, all of them 220 plus. But then you got in those big old D linemen in front of them, and I'm excited to see how that front 7 plays defensively. Then offensively with Jamal coming back, I mean, Jamal, how big does he look? I think he's at least 10 to 15 pounds, and he's looking great. And then you had Algie Brown. I love Algie Brown's move to fullback, and I think a lot of people were kind of bummed by that. But I think we're going to see Algie Brown used similar to how Fui Vakapuna and Manasseh Tonga were used, where they are fullbacks. They're going to be blocking, but they're also going to get the ball a lot down in those short yardage areas and then down the goal line, and they'll just run over dudes. And so I'm excited to see kind of how this pro-style offense rolls out, but I think they're putting the guys in the right places right now. I mean, we see quite a few guys moving positions, but I like every one of them. I don't think there's one of them where I say, man, I think he should probably stay on that side of the ball or stay in that position. I think all of them have been great moves so far.
Which side will be better this fall, the BYU defense or the BYU offense?
Oh, well, I hope both sides. With the schedule they're facing, they better both be up to speed. But I have to go. Man, I have to go defense, obviously, because I'm a defensive player. But more than that, I think defenses are it's easier to pick up and to transition to. And 3-4 to 4-3, really, you're just kind of switching out one guy. The back end pretty much stays the same. Offensively, man, it's a whole new system. I mean, the quarterbacks are in a whole different position. The blocking's different for the offensive line. So there's a lot of things that are different for the offensive side of the ball, the defense. So that's why I think the defense will probably be further along. But man, for this team to be successful in those first 3-4 games, they've really all got to be on the same page and both be up to par and up to speed.
David, on the defensive line, linebackers, secondary, where is the strength? Which position of those 3?
Man, I think all around, if you look at every position, there's a ton of experience returning. Yeah, some of them didn't play in that natural position they did last year, with Sai Tatu being one of those guys, played linebacker, but now he's switching to like a defensive end with hand in the dirt. And then, of course, you've got Hanneman moving from corner to safety. So you got a lot of experience, some guys playing different positions. But I don't know if there is a strength. I mean, you look at the defense of the secondary, the last corner position is kind of up in the air. You got Mike Davis kind of locked it down. Is it going to be Troy Warner? Is it going to be Achille Davis? I mean, who's going to fill in that last spot? And to be honest, guys, there's going to be a lot of shuffling that's still going to occur. I mean, these next 4 or 5 months, I really say 4 because these next 4 months are huge in the sense that the coaching staff and the players will quickly realize who are the guys that really want that starting spot, because come summertime, there's a lot of free time, and you can either spend it working out and watching film, or you can spend it going home and doing your own thing and not being part of the team. And so, these off-season months, it really starts to show who's bought into the team concept and who still kind of wants to be that individual and wants that individual praise. And you'll see quickly that come fall time, there's going to be some guys that were slated to be starters that are maybe 2 or 3 down the depth chart because they weren't there for 7-on-7. They weren't there for the team activities. They're now a step behind because they weren't studying this new defense or new offense. So there's going to be a lot of pieces still shuffling this summer. A lot of guys might emerge. You might have second or third stringers that during 7-on-7, the team captains say, "Man, this guy's a baller. He was out there doing his thing," and that gets back to the coaches eventually. And you see him maybe move up on the depth chart. So it'll be interesting to see with this offseason kind of what pans out.
Follow him at @D_Nixon on the Twitter machine. David Nixon, former BYU and NFL linebacker, with us. Which of the new coaching staff, and I want you to pick one, will make the biggest impact on BYU football in 2016?
Hands down, Ty Detmer. And not only because he's the offensive coordinator and it's his offense, he's run the show, but I think his experience comes to play. And I think you look at, and I'm not talking coach experience, and I think that's been kind of the big knock on some of these coaches are, hey, these guys have been out doing other jobs, or they haven't coached at the college level. They've never been that position before. But all these guys have experience, especially Ty, playing college, playing pro, that they can go out there and talk to the kid and say, listen, I've been there. I know how hard it is to make this throw across the field to a comeback or a hitch, but I know it can be done. And so that instills confidence in these players, and especially this offense. Hey, I know how hard it is for your offensive linemen to scoop block on this certain play, but I know it can be done. I've seen it be done, and we're going to make it easy for you. Just trust me. And I think he's got to have that confidence of those players that he's coaching the right way, and that that they can get the job done. And so I think come fall time, it's got to be him. He's got to make sure that offense is clicking because, like I said earlier, with the schedule they're facing, the defenses they're going to be facing, especially come those first few games in the Pac-12, it's not going to be an easy job.
David, will BYU, in your opinion, be ranked at any point this season?
I think so. I think BYU starts out hot, goes 3-0 against Pac-12, becomes ranked, and then as they start to move east, as you start going against those Big Ten and SEC schools, it's going to get tougher. And as the season starts to grind on, but I think they start fast, and I think they have a great start. And I think they gain some national attention when they beat up on Arizona, Utah, and UCLA. So that's my prediction. I'm hopeful of it. I'm hopeful of it, but there's still a lot of work to be done until now and when the season kicks off for sure.
David Nixon calling for a 3-0 start for BYU football in 2016. They'll be a top 20 team if they're 3-0 against that schedule.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I just said it.
David Nixon bringing the heat.
I said it in English.
You've qualified again. We will have you on again. You've done enough.
Awesome. That's what I have to do. I just have to tell you guys that they're going to be ranked. I get to come on again. Is that what happens?
Just tell us something crazy to get attention.
Bold prediction in April is that they will be ranked after the first 3 games. There
wow.
You go. April 4th hot takes
man.
with David Nixon.
Yes. Dave, great to talk to you, man.
Awesome. Take care, guys.
David Nixon on the Deseret First Credit Union Hotline. Deseret First, your values, your timeline, your financial